Look at this poor guy. Eating rice and eggs again? Where's the steak, old man?
Those words echoed like knives in the chest of David, who didn't know how to react. David was 60 years old, a black man, thin, with skin worn by the sun and by time. He worked as a construction laborer at a building site in downtown Chicago, Illinois. He was a simple man, with a gentle voice, calloused hands, and tired eyes, but full of faith. Every day at noon, he would sit alone in a quiet corner of the construction site, away from the others, carefully opening the lid of his old aluminum lunchbox. Inside was always the same meal: rice, a fried egg, and sometimes a little bit of flour. Before eating, he closed his eyes and whispered, "This is what God provided today, and I am grateful." But one particular day, as he prepared to pray, 3 younger workers noticed what was inside his lunchbox and began to laugh. One of them, Ryan, 25 years old, white, strong build, mocked him. "Look how poor this guy is. Rice and eggs again? Where's the steak, man? You starving or what?" The others burst out laughing. David didn't respond. He simply lowered his eyes, clenched his hands, prayed silently, and ate. That night at home, he told his wife what had happened. She held his hand with tears in her eyes and said, "Don't be ashamed of having little, David. God sees everything." He replied calmly, "I know, and I trust him." A few days later, something unexpected happened. One of the site engineers, a successful, quiet man, approached him during lunch break. He said he had been watching David's respectful behavior, his commitment, and above all, his humility. Then he made him an offer. He wanted to hire David directly to handle maintenance at a high-end condominium in Naperville, Illinois, with a formal contract, fixed salary, and full benefits. David accepted. For the first time in decades, he had a registered job. Over time, he earned the respect of everyone at his new workplace. Months later, he returned to that same construction site where he had been humiliated, but this time driving the modest car he bought through hard work and faith. The young men who had laughed at him were still there. When they saw him, they lowered their heads. David simply said, "Life goes around, boys. The greatest waste of time is offending God himself." And he drove away in peace. Today, at 60 years old, David supports his family with dignity. He no longer has to choose between buying bread or paying the electricity bill, and he still helps others who face the same struggles he once did. He knows the victory didn't come easily, but God never stopped listening to him. If this story touched your heart, write in the comments, "I believe." Follow our page and share this with someone who needs to remember that God still honors those who are humble and faithful. Never be ashamed of having little, because when you have faith, what seems small in God's hands becomes much.